Black CEO denied withdrawal at her own bank. 1 minute later, she fires manager. Before we dive in this story, hit the comments and tell us your city or country. Let's see how far this story reaches. If you like the video, please subscribe. She walked into the bank wearing a tailored suit and quiet confidence. But the moment the black woman handed over her black card and ID, the manager's eyes narrowed. Something in his posture changed, suspicion replacing service. "We don't process cards like this without additional proof," he sneered. Patrons looked on as whispers began. She wasn't just questioned, she was dismissed. What they didn't know? She wasn't just a customer. She owned the very building they stood in. And in 60 seconds, she'd make sure no one ever forgot it. Watch until the end. Danielle Rivers was a quiet powerhouse. The 42-year-old CEO of a major fintech firm, she didn't seek attention, but her impact was undeniable. After growing up in a low-income neighborhood, Danielle worked her way through college, shattered ceilings, and eventually bought controlling shares in a failing regional bank, turning it into a thriving, community-focused enterprise. On this day, she walked into one of her branches, disguised by the simplicity of her presence. There was no security, no entourage, just a black woman making a personal visit to withdraw a sizable amount to finalize a nonprofit housing project. It should have been a seamless transaction, but racism doesn't check resumes. The moment she entered, the tone shifted. The front desk staff looked uneasy, and when she presented her card, the bank manager's bias came to light. What he said next would spark a chain reaction he'd never forget. Danielle waited patiently as the teller glanced at the name on her card and then blinked at her. A pause, a subtle frown. She was asked to wait for the manager. When he arrived, he barely glanced at her before taking the card and saying, "Ma'am, we can't process this. We've had issues with cards like this before." Danielle remained calm. "It's my account," she said, but that only provoked more suspicion. He demanded additional ID and employment proof and even tried to call security. Meanwhile, the room watched with growing curiosity and quiet discomfort. Her ID matched the account. Her face was on the building's investor recognition wall. But still, he pushed. "We have policies, can't just let anyone walk in and claim this kind of money," he muttered. "Anyone." Danielle's jaw tightened. This wasn't protocol, it was profiling. The manager didn't recognize her, I didn't believe her. He saw only a black woman holding a luxury card and made a snap judgment, and now he was digging his own grave. She calmly asked for the regional director's contact, already knowing he reported to her. As he smirked, believing he had the upper hand, Danielle reached for her phone. With a few swift taps, she opened the internal company system. Staff members nearby caught a glimpse of the CEO access screen, and suddenly, eyes widened. The manager didn't notice, but the moment her executive badge pinged into the branch's HR database, everything changed. Within seconds, the district HR head called the branch's landline. Danielle stood silently as the phone rang. The manager picked up, casual, at first, then stiff with alarm. His face drained of color. "Yes, she's here, I didn't know," he stammered. His eyes shot toward Danielle, but it was too late. The room fell silent. The entire staff realized the woman they'd watched be humiliated was the owner. Danielle didn't yell. She didn't curse. She just said one sentence: "You're relieved of duty, effective immediately." The security team, who'd once hovered nearby, now stood frozen, not protecting him but watching her in awe. The same people who doubted her worth were now scrambling to apologize. It took less than a minute. Power didn't need noise. It just needed truth. Danielle didn't come back to gloat. She came back to fix what should never have been broken. That same afternoon, she launched a new mandatory anti-bias training across every branch and established a community review board to report discrimination. But the emotional wound remained. For Danielle, it wasn't about the money. It was about the message. That no matter how far she'd risen, the world still saw her through a lens of suspicion. And that's the story millions face daily, unseen power, dismissed because of skin. She turned her pain into policy, her silence into action. Because true power isn't just having the title, it's knowing when to use it. So tell us, where are you watching from? And have you ever been underestimated because of who you are? Take care.